whenever it loads. Hello and welcome back to Morgan's maybe not so lazy Sunday afternoon live stream. I know it's 4th of July, but it's also Camp NANO. And some of us might be thinking about doing something for Camp NANO. Do not feel obligated. I think we all know I took April, May, June off from writing, and I'm just tiptoeing my way back in. So if that's not where you are right now, that's fine. I'm also planning on taking some sprints to snack. So, priorities. I have storyteller Sako with me today.
Oh, I forgot to change my name.
You're here to tell stories, right?
I am.
So popping over to the chat, I see we have a Spence. Hello. We have a Lizzie who is watching childhood shows instead of writing because hell yeah. Wishing us a happy 4th for, at least those of us in the States. Devin is here. Hello and welcome. We got a Kelly. Hello, Cloud. I don't know if you've been here before. You're totally welcome. Super excited to have you with us.
Cloud is awesome.
Right. We have Jacob here. Hello, Sarah's nephew. Good to have you.
Right.
Yeah. So big crowd. I think all of us are pretty excited about being inside near the air conditioning.
It could be worse. The weather here doesn't suck.
Yeah, no. It's actually pretty nice for a 4th of July.
I did have trouble sleeping last night because we had people across the street like setting off fireworks pretty much until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's rough. That's super rough. But I mean, yeah, I know for those of you who don't know, my ex-husband and I used to host a 4th of July party for 70 to 130 of our nearest and dearest. Yep. And so it would always be the Saturday of the weekend and it would go until 4 a.m. We would do some fireworks when it got dark, but most of my friends were more eager to get to the fire spinning.
Yeah. So, yeah, the flow stuff in the evening was top notch.
Definitely something I miss. I would hose down the entire yard and stand guard
ready with the
hose just in case.
Yeah.
And I have 3 rules for 4th of July parties. 1, stay hydrated. Most people may know their drinking tolerance, but when you go outside and add 90 to 115 degrees of heat, your tolerance goes down. Number 2, only sober people play with fire. And number 3, don't get stupid drunk. If you follow these rules, we'll all have a much better time. There are people
having like flashbacks of
people setting themselves on fire.
People getting drunk to the point of stupidity.
Yeah. But these are the things I ask of my guests, and when they did, it worked out much better. Heather popped in just to pop that little like button. Thank you. Have a great 4th, and if you make it back, we'll be happy to have you.
Indeed.
Wait. Kelly is in Georgia with no AC. Dude, are you alive? Do you have like some swamp coolers and fans going? Oh my goodness, that sounds rough. So, Lizzie's trying to watch, but only her left headphone is working. Yeah, the weather has calmed down a little, but it's supposed to spike again starting tomorrow. Thank you, Devin, for shouting out that I would totally kick the 3-headed Spinosaurus's butt. We have a Jennifer. Hello and welcome. We're just talking about 4th of July and, staying cool, pretending we are cool. I mean, I'm pretending. Sako's not.
Oh, that's sweet. With my growing out mohawk here. Ceiling fans.
I mean, yeah, no, ceiling fans definitely. I mean, they work best if you have the transom windows above the doorways. And most houses these days are not built that tall to have windows over the doors. You need higher ceilings for that. But yeah, they definitely help. And hopefully everybody's staying hydrated. So that's all you can do really when it's muggy and gross out. So what is everybody working on today? Let me know if you're snacking, watching TV, writing, or editing. I'm doing some beta reads. I'm doing some revision of my own. I got some feedback 2 years ago. I don't know who was around for that. I did a NANO's worth of short stories.
Oh,
and I'm finally actually starting to revise them so I can send them out and see about publishing them.
Maybe being in an anthology or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm just going to hang on to them until the right one comes around rather than, I can be patient. It doesn't have to be published tomorrow. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be trying traditional publishing in the first place. So what? Kelly's neighbors removed their transom windows? I mean, if they have central AC and they're doing it to stop noise transfers from bedrooms out because some people want their bedrooms a little more private, maybe. But other than that, there's no reason to get rid of a transom window, at all. I had them in college in an unair-conditioned dorm when I was on the 3rd floor, and
yeah,
it was a jam. They for people who aren't from southern U.S., transom windows are just windows that go over doorways that you can crack open to allow airflow, and it really helps let heat out because the heat rises, and so that way it doesn't get stopped in one room. So when you're blowing fans, the air can move, and it really, really helps keep a house cooler.
Yeah, it does.
I'm pretty fortunate with the fact my house, the way it faces, I have no windows on the sunny side of the house. And so that helps me stay a bit cooler as well. So let's see. Cloud yesterday wrote 1,000 words of bad words, and today it goes way better. That's awesome. I love it when the words start stepping up. Just Ava is starting to outline a story idea for the month's project finally. That's awesome. I might do some planning for a revision as well for a longer story. Let's see. Jacob's mom got him a Michael Myers mask, and it showed up in the mail today, so that's pretty fun. I hope you enjoy your mask, Jacob. Lizzie got the ears. Oh dear, duct tape. I mean, duct tape's supposed to be able to fix everything. Fix the headphones.
As long as they work, right?
Yeah. So Eva says she only sees the transoms in historical homes. Yeah. Because they just don't make them like that anymore. And their house just has normal, boring windows and is brick. So the brick definitely helps it keep cooler. And it's not 122 degrees. Yeah. So, well, I'm glad everybody's keeping as cool as possible considering the circumstances. So as a reminder, Sako and I will be road tripping this time next week. We will do our best to keep the live stream happening, but we'll be on our phones. So,
I might be on my computer. Well,
sure.
I don't know. We'll see.
But we'll see how reception is, I think, is the real question.
Also, whether or not we have panels to attend at 4:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday.
Yeah, I would hope we're on our way back by then.
I hope so.
So we will definitely see. There was a workshop that did sound kind of cool, but it was like a first 10 pages workshop or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it was important enough to bother sticking around for. I need to decide what I'm doing soon, though, especially for things that require sign up.
Right on.
So for those who are curious, we will be at Imaginarium in Kentucky next week.
Yep.
And I will be, what am I talking about? I don't remember. Things and stuff, right? What are you going to be talking about? Covers and graphic novels and
making comics.
There we go.
And covers and urban fantasy.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. So one of my panels is in person and two of mine are virtual. So if you want to hit them up and you're not in Kentucky, Friday I've got social media platforms in person, and then Saturday I've got character creation, and then Sunday morning I have Zoom etiquette, which I think I have a little bit of an inkling on how that one goes. Just a little. Smidge. So yeah. Oh, well, are we ready to sprint and pretend we're productive?
Yes.
The con is in Louisville, Kentucky. So
yeah.
Oh, Lizzie's going to be at a condo for her mom's birthday, so that's cool. Super fun. So, yeah, I totally understand people sticking to virtual for now. So, yeah. Kelly is working on an art contract today. Nice. Cool. I hope these are cooperative clients. I know it's always a roll of the die. So yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. So let's see. I select the share screen button. I select the share audio. I select the proper Chrome tab.
Oh, Kelly's the client.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I'm sorry, we're a little far away. So it happens. So, okay, well, let's go ahead and get started and see how productive, that's the word I'm going for, we can be. I'll fix it in edits. Writers are not known for their improv. They are known for being able to polish things in revisions. Just saying. So 3, 2, 1, let's write. And we're back. Oh, hey, Jayce. You ready to come in?
Yes,
and
I am.
And then there were 3.
I have finally been released from familial visits.
Nice.
That was a quick visit, or did they cancel?
No, they were stopping by on their way to go somewhere.
Okay.
But, it was one of those, hey, we'll stop by at 3, and then we call at 4:30 and say, where are you? And they're like, oh, yeah, we're leaving. We're on our way. Okay, but I've been on hold for 2 hours.
That sounds pretty ridiculous. So what are you working on this month?
I am working on episode 2 of Will Meyer's Virtual Diary, which is the piece that I did for the Pride and Prejudice audio anthology. I'm trying to get into a habit where I release at least one a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to also line it up so that I have one of the appropriate theme ready for the next Pride anthology in September.
Oh, nice.
Because that we've finally nailed down a date for the next one, which is going to be called Pride After Pride.
That makes sense. Cool.
Which is, it's going to be based on, the theme is, how do you capture and experience pride after the rest of the world has stopped caring?
Ouch. Yeah.
So basically, once June is over.
Wow. So, Sako, how was your sprint?
My sprint was spent looking at Airbnbs and talking about writer retreat things and
Nice.
Fun.
and things. So my head is swimming with possibilities.
I did not start beta reading. Instead, I remembered that one of my Patreons that I support, monthly short story, just came out, and I needed to read the latest
Chapter.
episode. Whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, priorities. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. So we're gonna make this a little quick and get back to my story. So just saying.
Yeah, I'm happy. I finished reading the client book that I was working on this morning, so I had free time for the rest of the day
to sit and spin while you waited on your family.
Exactly.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was on Amber Stream, so that was...
okay, good. So...
It was just the past couple of hours.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm going to pop into the comments. Let's see. Spence says sprints for her today are housework and then client work and then creative fun time work. Eva suggested just hitting the Humane Society to look at fur babies. I don't know that ours are fully open right now. A lot of them are appointments and stuff. So I've just been hitting the Pet Finder website and seeing what's available at the local shelters. Everybody has kittens. It's kitten season. I don't want a kitten. So that's my real struggle right now for getting a cat.
I wouldn't be able to go to those places because I can't resist kittens.
Right. But I have allergies, so one cat is best for me, and it's not healthy for a kitten to be alone. So, And you know more what you're getting when you get an older cat because they've settled in to their permanent personality more.
Yes, but they can still be a surprise to you.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. So let's see. Jacob played WWE 2K20 with Joseph, so that sounds fun. Spence said they did fireworks until sunrise in her town.
Oof.
They camped at her mom's last night, and the sister's dog spent the night in the bathtub. And the chronically anti-dog Dad slept in the house with him.
Aww.
Yeah. I visited the boyfriend who lives in the middle of nowhere. And so there were no fireworks close enough to really boom, boom. I mean, earlier in the day, the neighbors were target practice shooting, but, you know, not 3 a.m. Boom, boom, which I'm totally going to be getting here at home tonight.
Yeah.
I learned last year that I can see some fireworks from something over the houses down the street. So I picked up a couple foot-long sparklers and some hot dogs and figure I'll just watch it when the time comes.
Sorry, the sparklers make me laugh now because I saw the alternate name for them as angry incense.
Oh, let me show you these sparklers.
Angry incense. That's really good.
I apparently got neon sparklers.
What makes them neon?
I don't know anything about the color of the fire, but I can tell you right now through the like little peak stick that they're brightly colored at least. So I'm not really sure what that does to a sparkler. Except, oh my God, they don't want to open. So.
Oh, pretty. Hopefully they do sparkle in neon colors. That would be cool.
It would be. So I will wait until dark and find out.
Cool.
So.
But, you know, I've also seen things like that where they're like, hey, these are neon colors, and they sparkle the same silver as the rest of them.
Right. Right. But, you know, they're slightly cooler than the plain black, gray, fuzzy ones, I guess. And
they're also a lot longer.
I love the long ones because I'm a little paranoid around fire and sparks. And with this, the stick is so long that you can hold it about as far away from you as the length of a regular sparkler.
Right.
So you see from here to here.
You're like the safety distance is.
And then I can be like, how far away from me can I hold it? So, yeah, I am probably not inclined to ever be a fire spinner. I would be the safety backup.
You're not going to dude bro it and light like 10 of them and hold them in your teeth? And
So a friend of mine, once upon a time, took the LSATs for getting into law school, and he said he held in his mind me as the image, as the mental concept of what would a reasonable person do? Because apparently there's a lot of, if a reasonable person might think it was plausible that this was okay or safe or whatever. And
you were the baseline. Yeah,
right, exactly. Would Morgan really do this? If not, no reasonable person would. If so, so.
Yeah, and I worked in a hospital for 12 years, and annually our busiest day for the ER and burn unit was July 5th.
Oh, dear. Also remember that internists and like all the new doctors are let loose July 1st. So July is maybe not the best time to be in the ER. I do have a little very light burn right here.
What'd you do?
I made pasta, and when I was draining it, the edge of the pot hit my arm. So it happens when you are small and weak, and pasta pots are holding 6 gallons of water.
Yeah,
I was going to say it looked a little like oven rack type.
A little bit.
I am mostly over my oven fear, but I'm still very cautious and respectful of the oven's power.
Yeah, when I was in 5th grade, I burned my hand on an oven rack, and I still have the scar. It's mostly healed.
Okay.
But like, so I heal slowly, but I heal completely.
Oh, nice. My first scar wasn't until about 5 years ago. because reasonably prudent person here. But yeah,
you have a similar wound. Yeah.
It's on my thumb. Yeah. So, and
Mine
it
are
has a ridge, which is weird.
Mine are usually from putting it back. It's usually one of those, okay, and that is not cooled off yet.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, my ex and I used to have a thing where when something comes out of the oven, he can like flip it over barehanded and it would hurt my hand, but I could pop it in my mouth like immediately.
I can do that. I have that too.
Except cheese. Pizza's right out. Like cheese will like burn and stick to the roof of your mouth. So cheese needs to cool down, but anything else, like ow.
But like chicken is sautéing in the pan and it can go right in the mouth.
I don't know if I'm quite that badass. So popping over to the comments real quick, we have an Allie who is very excited to say hello to us.
Hello, Allie.
Dropping by to say hi and already got 254, and their goal today was only 160. So is off to bed.
Okay. Good night.
Have a Jenny. Hi.
Hi, Jenny.
And I think we all appreciate Spence's dad helping the puppers stay okay. Apparently our snacking during the sprint inspired people. I'm 100% pro snack. What type of cookies were they?
They are Lemon Ups from Girl Scouts.
Nice.
They were the last of the cookies from Gwyneth's order.
Yeah. I'm still annoyed that my niece's Girl Scout troop orders their Girl Scout cookies during the winter holiday break when everybody is gouging on holiday sweets and candy.
Yep.
It used to be you ordered in like February, right about the time you were recovering from
said sugar.
Exactly.
That's when it makes sense.
Right. I it's been slowly creeping earlier and earlier, and this year it was literally
During
between
Christmas.
like Christmas and New Year's was when they were getting and I was like, are you kidding me?
Everyone's all cookied out. You're not going to make good sales.
Pretty much. And then you see, I saw an article about how the Girl Scouts undersold by so many cookies. And I was like, that's because you did it during the holidays.
Yep.
What did you think was going to happen?
Indeed.
So, I have firm feels on Girl Scout cookies.
And their marketing mishaps.
Yeah. So let's see. Spence didn't actually do any chores, just sat there and glared at her pencil. I mean, pretty good. Ginny is excited. We have a Jayce, just like the rest of us. Oh, my chat's jumped. Where'd it go? Oh, there we go. I thought Lizzie was going to chill and watch TV, but instead she copied and pasted a whole chapter and decided to look around World Anvil.
World Anvil is doing this thing for a week.
Okay.
Where they have different prompts for world building
Fun.
each day, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, I love playing with world building.
Yeah. Which is what World Anvil is.
Really right. I just suck at working with prompts, so it might be a good spot to start. We'll see. Cloud got 639 words, and the scene is going well. Oh my goodness, that is...
Yeah, that scene is going well.
Hell yeah. I'm happy if I get, 200, maybe, 400 in a good sprint.
Yeah.
So Sharon writes, hello and welcome. Are you new? Have you swung by before? Doesn't matter. We love new people. We love regulars and everybody in between. So I hope you're having fun and keeping cool. So let's see. Eva got 554 words. Got the idea figured out mostly. Nice. Jenny spent her sprint cleverly chatting with Sako on Discord.
Indeed.
Like all the cool kids. Eva says, if things go horribly wrong, their backup plan is to move to the DC area. Oh yeah. If hopefully it doesn't happen, but if it does, obviously we will be your friend.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm 20 minutes from Sako, so
yeah.
Let's see. Spence says that her mom's house is a football field stroll away from the wreckage crater caused by a fireworks explosion. So they attempted some ghost hunting last night.
That's funny.
That there is a pond where the factory was because the explosion was so big, the crater hit groundwater.
Whoa.
Holy whoa. And she asked if they thought it was rude of us to be bothering them during a fireworks show, talking to the ghost, and her sister got a chill. Oh my goodness. So Lizzie is off to dinner. Thanks for swinging by. If you make it back before we finish, you're always welcome. I don't know what Eva's back it up Terry is for.
Yeah, I don't know.
I lost track. So let's see. Lee's here. Hello and welcome.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Lee.
And so
cool.
Eva just shopped and donated out. People had tax money in February. Exactly. I donated a bunch of cookies to people, but I mean, I'm not ordering in December. I mean, I did because
I did.
And I'm morally obligated to support my niece, but you know.
See, in my city, it would be really smart to do it in early April because that's when we have the hash bash.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Spence was glaring at her pencil because she thought she lost it, ordered a new one, and then found the old one. Oh my gosh, I hate when that happens. Oh, goodness.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Cat Leo joined us. Hello. I'm glad you had a lovely bath. And you know me, I just read a Patreon short story and ate chips through the last sprint. So you do you. No writing necessary. Eva didn't realize I was local.
Yeah. Morgan's an IRL friend.
Yeah. I knew her before I joined AuthorTube.
Ditto.
True facts.
True facts.
So, apparently there's a Back It Up Terry video clip with some fireworks. Okay.
Oh.
I just missed that reference. So, well, speaking of sprints, I still have half a story to read and more pita chips and hummus like calling my name. So.
I should actually write.
I might even open up the document. I was going to start beta reading today. It could happen.
Yeah, I ran into a thing with this story. Yesterday during my stream, I started writing this, and I hit a spot where I'm like, I don't know what the city is like, and I have spent the past 24 hours-ish looking at Montgomery, Alabama in pictures and videos and stuff.
Yep.
Google Earth walkthrough?
I could not get the walkthrough. It was not.
It was not an option.
It was not an option.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Because a lot of it is also an army base.
Yes.
And I wouldn't expect them to be able to stroll through the army base. It's probably just clone stamped trees.
That's not, the overhead is really detailed.
Well, just because it's detailed doesn't mean it's not clone stamped.
True.
So, okay, well, it sounds like we are all ready to go again.
We are ready to go again.
So I just have to find the window, add it to the stream, and let's get going in 3, 2, 1, right. And we're back.
And we're back.
We
How
are.
was, how was your sprint?
I was smoking and talking to Discord.
Only 109 words.
Only that was more words than you had before. So
Going in the right direction.
Yeah, I got pulled back into looking things up because I just can't seem to get enough information in my head. Plus, I also watched a few more minutes of the interview Savvy did on the Council of Geeks channel.
Okay.
Because I love that channel and I watch it all the time, and all of a sudden there's a video that has an interview with Savvy, and I'm just like, wait a second, those are two different worlds that are colliding.
Exactly.
That is AuthorTube mixing with my geek life.
Yay!
I mean, how much of your AuthorTube life is not geeky?
I just mean the big channels that I watch that are not.
That are not AuthorTube themed.
Yes.
I just reached out to some of the witch people for the Witch of Tilwiteg in hopes that I can revive that channel and
Nice.
figure things out.
I am the lapsest pagan ever. So I hit page 51 of that story I started 2 sprints ago. So
Excellent.
did not realize this Patreon story was quite as long as it is. It may in fact be a novel.
Oh.
Like a 15,000, 20,000.
Well, it's 265 pages apparently.
God damn.
Usually it's a short story, but this is apparently the last one before. It's following the storyline of a grandmother of the main characters in the for sale books. Because the books Shannon McGuire sells is about one generation of a family. The Patreon stories are about the grandmother.
Cool.
Who is currently dimension hopping, not aging, and looking for her lost husband for the last 50 years. So
very cool.
We're finding out how he got lost in dimensions. But there has to be a little more time because the kids haven't been born yet. So clearly something happens between here and there.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is King Red Spy a bot?
King Red Spy is not a bot. King Red Spy is Sarah's nephew. So.
Which Sarah?
Sarah Sharnweber.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he likes to be very active on the chat feed.
Right on.
So that's his way of participating. So yeah. Cool. It sounds like he is still playing WWE 20K20 with Joseph. So yeah. Ooh, I see Shadow Lair showed up. Hello and welcome.
Long time no see.
Yeah, definitely. Good to see people. Is everybody coming out for camp or to avoid family on the holiday? I mean, I need a break. I'm going to be back, so. Nice. Shadow's got 40 new words for Nano. Doing pretty well. Yeah. I did not realize I committed to reading a full novel during the stream. So I don't think I'm going to be doing anything else.
Yeah. Novel. So this client that we have, so funny story. I've read 3 books for this client so far.
Okay.
They're part of a series, and I have read each one in reverse order. So I read book 3, book 2, then book 1.
Okay. So you can tell them if they have it properly set up, such that people who haven't read it before know what's going on, at least for the later ones.
Yeah. Well, the first task was for 2 and 3 together, except that Meadow sent me them in reverse order.
Oh.
And, I'm not going to go into one and read it to find out whether it is the first book.
Right.
So she sent me book 3 before she sent me book 2. But that was fine. Took care of that, did that, and had the meeting with the client. And she was really happy. She was so happy that she had me read book 1.
Yay! Ish. I mean, but cool.
But yeah, lots of pages. Very, very lots of pages. And the one that I just finished was 140K.
Oof.
That's a handful. That's definitely a handful.
That's 2 books for me. That's I would be like, split that up.
Yeah.
But you know me, I loves me some developmental editing.
Is it like chocolate for you?
It really is.
And the critique is like chocolate to me. So
nice.
So us working together was like, mwah.
Yay. I'm working on my developmental edits. I get distracted by line edits, but I think I'm maybe not structural editing, but I can tell you plot holes and pacing and a little bit. So it takes practice, though. You can't start off.
I don't think Hope's Chest would be what it is without you. So, like, the developmental stuff that you gave me was like
really
super needed.
Yay! I've been working on it. I definitely have. So
see, the line editing and copy editing, I find super tedious.
I'm not line editing or copy editing at a to publish level. I just it's like clutter to me, and so I have to make a note of it. And you run into people who repeatedly make the same grammatical mistake. That's one of your pet peeves that you didn't even know until you keep seeing them doing the same thing over and over again.
Or they're using the same word over and over and over.
Yeah.
Or the same phrase over and over.
Not every instance of it needs an apostrophe.
See, when you're going through the developmental edits, you just make note of the general idea and you say, okay, that is the note for that for the entire book. And you can tell them that as you go into the developmental phase and say, hey, this is a recurring problem. This is something when you're doing your developmental edits, if you want to hit those too, that'd be awesome.
Right?
Like in this particular one, verb tenses are kind of all over the place.
Oh dear.
But that's something that I worked really hard on. So all of my notes are in present tense. And then all of my content is in past tense.
Okay.
So I always know what's a note and what's actual content.
Okay.
Tenses are a big problem with a lot of writers, though, especially writers that are writing in past tense, because they don't realize a lot of things that they're saying are in present tense.
Oh dear. Like dialogue can be, but yeah, so, some people just don't notice tenses. Like some people just don't notice clutter. So, you know, and I totally understand that. The beta read I'm stalling on this time, she said that she's gotten feedback about how sometimes the view is close and sometimes it's further away. And so I'm going to be looking for that. Yeah. Where for me, you know, first person close is home. When I try to do third person, it ends up really close normally. Yeah. One day I might try to do a stretch goal of having like a far out narrator, but
far out.
I love being in the character's head, you know?
Me too.
That's my preferred space. even in third person, it's third person close is.
I feel like the reader should only know as much as the character does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where I am too. I understand that some people don't. That some people want to do a broader view, less personal,
more cinematic. You know,
for
like
me,
watching a movie from a distance.
Maybe that's why it doesn't appeal to me, because I'm not a very my imagination is not very cinematic, and so go ahead, Jayce.
I don't remember what that sentence was, but what you just brought up, I'm wondering, growing up, were we all like really heavy book people and not movie people?
I was both a movie person and a book person.
My mom controlled the TV. If it was on, I'd watch it. If not, I wouldn't. So
my mom controlled my reading.
And then my mother was like, why didn't you ever see this? And I'm like, because you didn't have it on TV. But my mom used to work at the public library in Philly, and she'd do story time. So she's got the great storyteller voice. And then she spent 30 years as a high school librarian. So plus she reads heavily in my genre. So her book recommendations were always spot on for me. And she never said, no, you can't read this. She's like, how about this now?
My mom was very much like that. She was like, how about this now? As opposed to, I don't want you reading that book.
I'm totally betrayed by my mother. She and her sister have a thing where they exchange books. And so like 5-6 years ago, I'm like, hey, you know, for the past like decade or so, I'm mostly getting, you know, my aunt's paranormal romances. Have you just not been reading heavily because of the World of Warcraft playing and stuff like that? And she's like, oh no, I shelved them. You just don't visit often enough. I shelved them on my bookcase instead of passing them on to you. So then I had to hit my mom's bookcase.
Oh.
I'm like, how could you do this to me? I mean, not that I don't enjoy a paranormal romance or whatever, but she shelved all the sci-fi and fantasy books she'd been reading.
Son of a gun.
I felt betrayed.
Where I was going with that one line of thought was with us, I think with people who do a lot of reading when they're younger, I think that might make them crave the closer narrative.
Oh.
Because when you're used to the people that are more used to the cinematic stuff would want a more cinematic narrative in their books too, because it's just what their brain thinks is normal. Well, I mean, it's all normal, but
it's all normal. Yeah. Granted, also those who read a lot as children and still write that way might be like me and kind of like stuck in an archaic way of writing.
But also, having read so much from a young age on up, you get the people who write almost more instinctively without, studying the 3-act structure.
Exactly.
Because it's intuitive to them because they've read it so much. I'm a resource junkie, so I like to be able to step back and be like, oh, that's why it works. Maybe I can apply that to mine because, if you understand how it works and why it works, then you can do it intentionally rather than instinctively. And if you have the instincts, there shouldn't be too much to change. So let's pop over to the comments. Let's see. Shadow's laptop's been in the shop. So
that's why we haven't seen him around.
Well, I'm glad it's back and working and everything's good. Let's see. Spence decided chores weren't happening today and just decided to make ramen. Red King Spy says happy 4th of July. Thank you. Kelly says that writers have to be conscious not to write like how they talk in most cases.
It depends on
narrative voice,
and the setting. But also to remember that not all characters' dialogue should sound like the same person is saying.
Yes.
That is tricky. That can be super tricky to not have all your characters have the
sound the same. Yeah. And that's hard in comics too, is like make sure all your drawings don't look like the same person.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Jennifer has a question. She's having trouble with a scene where her main character has just experienced extreme trauma and she wants to move the camera out a bit. Any suggestions? I've definitely seen that done where you do it in third person, even if the story is in first during the traumatic action. But it depends how. It depends. It really depends. I've actually attended several panels on that. I'll pop the link in a minute. If I can find it, So, if anybody else has thoughts, please.
I would probably shift perspective to like one of the nurses or the doctor or whoever is closest to the point of blast radius, blast radius. So whoever is closest to the blast radius, I would shift to that perspective or go to third person.
Yeah, my advice, just because I am deeply in the editing side of my brain right now, I would say write it and see how it looks.
Oh, sure.
And not worry too hard about it in the first draft, and then
you can shift perspective as needed.
Well, I found my notes on ways of advancing the story without traumatizing your characters, but I think the closest notes I have for this is really YA After Dark, why it's important to show scenes and tips about how to do it right. Because I mostly write YA. Okay, that's a lie. I've never written the same thing twice. So
okay.
Okay, popping into the comments. Let's see. I'm seeing if there were any responses before I go through. So, okay. Kelly had a question. How much is repetition of errors or mistakes the style of the writer, and how much are rudimentary things that are an issue? I mean, if it's grammar during the narrative, I'm a lot pickier than during dialogue.
Exactly.
And if it's not too wrong, if it's something that sounds natural, but sometimes it's just people trying to use words they're not familiar with, or use you can tell when someone hits a thesaurus.
Yeah.
And using connotation. Okay.
Yeah. Using fragments as sentences is something that I come across a lot, and I find it distracting. In that, I'm like, fragments aren't sentences.
But then again, I've heard that
but now apparently it's like a voice thing. So
I mean, there's a voice thing with no punctuation, all lowercase.
Yes, that's true. And I have recently read a book that was done that way, and it was really good.
And then there's Faulkner.
I
haven't read, but I've heard is run-on sentences that can be a page long. One of the reasons my sister ditched her maiden middle name is because it was Faulkner, and then she was an English major, and she was like, "Nope,
I don't want."
I will be taking the husband's name, moving my middle name to the middle, or last name to the middle, and ditching that whole thing. Peace out, yo.
Yeah, my biggest thing with that, it's my voice. It's not an error. You have to fully understand what the rule is before you can break it,
and why it exists, and what it does.
And we all do editing, and we can all tell when someone is doing it on purpose and when someone doesn't know what they're doing. And when someone who doesn't know what they're doing is saying, that's my narrative voice, it's like, no, we're going to call you on that because we can tell you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. And, you can tell when someone is trying to make their writing fancier and when someone is just, that's a good voice for them. Because one feels like I'm being graded by this and I'm trying to be as pretentious as possible. And or I want to write literary fiction because it's realer or some elitist ridiculosity.
Ran into that the other day.
a lot of genre people are really twitchy about it, and I keep hearing about it, but I haven't run into people. No one's saying that to my face, but it could be the people I hang out with are quality people and not elitist bullshit people. So,
people looking for prestige, which in this particular context is annoying. Well, it's annoying in general, but
they're like, I don't want to write commercial fiction. I'm like, you don't want to write things people want to read? So
I write for myself, and if other people want to read it, then cool.
Exactly. So I love having my sister as my alpha reader when she's available. I'm an identical twin, so her tastes overlap. Her Venn is like almost a circle with mine. So it's like me reading it without having written it. I mean, I'm not saying we're that identical, but when it comes to our literary tastes, we're pretty overlappy. So, and we have the same background. So she gets a lot of my in-jokes that other people might not.
That's a thought. I could probably make my sister a beta reader.
She's not gonna, right. She's not going to catch stuff that you need a particular background to get, but she's going to tell you if what you intended to do worked.
Right.
Is how I like to see it. So popping back to the comments, I'm a little bit behind. Eva just had dinner, got another couple hundred words. Nicely done. Think she's ready to dive into the first draft. Nice. Lee asks, what about point of view? My novel, Kel, is all point of view, the main character. Would it be all right to switch between three characters in the second novel? I'm okay with people introducing maybe one new point of view in a second book, but 3 seems maybe a bit much. So I don't know.
I think what you need to ask yourself is, with each of these people, do each of these new point of views have a fully developed story arc of their own? If not, they should really be secondary characters.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And even as secondary characters, there should be at least something for us to make him feel not so second dimension.
Right. I mean, I love remembering that characters off stage have things happening to them. So, if you go back and talk to somebody, they have other things going on in your life. Your main character is not what their world revolves around. And that can be really hard to remember because you're focused on the plot point and you're following the plot.
I love writing stuff that refers to a character who has his own shit going on. And so I basically write 2 stories right next to each other, and I'm only doing the perspective of one character from the other side. So like that's super fun for me.
Okay. I'm getting a lot of thoughts because the fantasy I'm querying right now, I have a super rough drafted sequel with main character's point of view returning, but also her sister's point of view being added. And maybe I should just switch to the sister, or maybe I should do hers and talk about her sister. I don't know.
I mean, as long as, because, I asked, is the point of view characters perspective needed? Does it bring the story? Does it bring something to the table?
Yeah.
And the answer can be yes.
Mhm.
And if the answer is yes, go ahead, make them a secondary, tertiary point of view.
Right. I think part of the question is also in a series, though, going from one point of view to multiple points of view, how many is reasonable to add?
Mm-hmm.
If because you don't want
What's important to the story?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You want what's important to the story, but I mean, George R. R. Martin adding 12 new point of view characters between books. Like, that's why books 5 and 6 turned into 2 books instead of 1, is he kept adding point of view characters and not necessarily ones we'd seen before. Although, gotta give him credit, best role reversal of me hating Jamie to understanding and empathizing with a character ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jamie, I never expected. I mean, but yeah. The other reason why I will never reread George R. R. Martin, if I do read the final books when they come out, I will hit the Wikipedia, because I don't like being depressed for that long and good people forced to choose between bad and worse options. It's very depressing and not what I want to spend my time doing.
I am thinking the same thing that Sako's face is doing right now. It's like, I kind of dig that.
I do those things.
Oh, I reread them, like, but his are like this thick. And
Yeah,
for me to get all the way up to book 7, I have to read this many pages. I reread them all before the latest one came out like 5 years ago. And I was like, never again.
Yeah.
I read 100 pages an hour, but that was still a whole week and a half of nothing but George R. R. Martin just getting to the new book. Mm-hmm. Next time I'm hitting the Wikipedia and rolling
just
into
to catch up.
Yeah, just to remind myself what happened. So I'm not saying I won't ever reread it, but I mean, I got to read bookcase over there that's 3 years deep. So yeah. So I'll pop into the comments. Cat's fixing dinner. Kelly thought we made some good points on narrative craving and me talking about instinctual feels for, I believe, plotting and pacing and stuff. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Shadows says she they wish their laptop was back, but it's still wrong and they're borrowing their son's computer. Yeah. So Spence asked if Jennifer was writing in first or third when talking about the traumatic scene.
I don't know that it matters.
Yeah. So Jennifer is writing in first and appreciates our thoughts. So Spence, if it's stupid and it works, is it stupid? If it works, is it really an error? Legit.
It's not a glitch, it's a feature.
Right? I'm a software engineer. That is our motto. So Eva says some manipulations of grammar can add to a story where mistakes can pull a reader out. That's
exactly. If you're gonna do it, go big or go home.
Yes.
Yeah.
So authors know their stories so well, it's hard to see the spots that interrupt a reader, as the authors know the story too well to be pulled out. Mm-hmm. And that's why critique partners, betas, editors, etc. are so important.
Exactly. So important. That is my life. That is my life.
Yeah.
I'm eyeballs deep in my story, so I can't see the flaws.
Yeah.
So that's when I hand it off to.
Although I want to note, if you're reading your story and you keep falling asleep, it doesn't mean your story is boring. It may just mean you know it so well forward and backwards that you're not worried about what's happening next because you already know it.
Yeah.
Or you're just me and can't read 10 pages without falling asleep in general.
Exactly. So just letting you know, just because your story bores you doesn't mean it's actually boring.
Yeah.
So Spence has strong opinions about prestige, pretentiousness, and politics in the, quote, artisan class of people that should justify a TED Talk, but it involves the word fuckwit a lot. So, legit. Eva says, if the reason a reader is pulled out of a story ends up being grammar, that's an easy fix. grammar isn't as important to storytelling as storytelling, voice, pacing, etc.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Spence says they are a weird point of view snob. If it's first person and I get anyone else's point of view in my whole series, I'm grumpy about it. But third person, go ham. I'll accept shifting perspective mid-scene as long as it's smooth.
I make sure that POV exists. I try not to think for other people, right? So because I'm so close in third or I'm in first person,
right?
I try not to put thoughts in other people. Like,
yeah. Like he was embarrassed and blushing. No, you see the blushing, you don't know why. Maybe he's blushed from drinking.
The thing that I just ran into in the book that I just finished reading, and I've run into it before, in a traditionally published book or series, and I didn't mind it then. I thought it was a cool concept. Is having one first-person POV, and other POVs were all third-person.
I've seen that, but mostly in like mysteries and suspense is where I see it mostly done more often.
This was in fantasy.
Okay.
And it does work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That sounds complicated.
It doesn't mean that it wasn't a fantasy mystery because sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, that's why just like Sako, I like to be in the head of just one person, just intimately, and not knowing what's going on in the other people's, because that makes every interaction with every person a mystery.
Right.
I mean, as mysterious as it is in real life.
Ideally.
So
why do I like it so much in books and hate it so much in real life?
Because books can't affect your life.
True. There it is.
That's not true.
Okay. Emotionally, they can affect you. Mentally, they can affect you. They can change your outlook on things, but they can't fuck up your life.
As a book falls off the shelf and kills me.
Right. More like the whole bookcase.
Books ruined my life.
So let's see. Eva says, write all the scenes in your head, edit when the story is done. I can't do that.
I used to do that, but that was before I was writing books.
Yeah. I can do that for a scene. But for me, it's mostly I know where I want the scene to end, and then I write towards that. But I plans for life, hashtag. So, we have a Raven. Hello and welcome.
Hello, Raven.
So, Eva, speaking about rereading, her husband has reread the Wheel of Time series. I'm like, so many words. Is there a movie?
Yes.
Oh, the Wheel of Time series is another one where the original author tried to just keep adding to it instead of telling the story. They just wanted to make it more and more complex. And when Robert Jordan passed on and left his notes to Brandon Sanderson cleaned it up so freaking well. Oh my God.
Because he was dealing with the notes rather than adding stuff in as he went along.
Yeah, and he was tying things up, and he looked at all the notes. He's like, this is a trilogy. This is not one book.
I hear that.
And the last three were so much more cohesive and coherent.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. I will watch a depressing movie. I will not watch a depressing TV show. I could not watch Game of Thrones. I followed all the news summaries and stuff and the costumery, but I couldn't watch it because I didn't want to be depressed for an hour a week when I read 100 pages an hour and I can read the book faster than I can watch it. I don't need that much time investment in being depressed. I found it very stressful to watch.
I still can't watch The Road.
Okay, I haven't tried. But yeah, there are things
I couldn't off meds, and even on meds, I'm like, this is rough. This is real.
I can read a lot darker than I can watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, Raven says he read the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant do that to him. He used to read them regularly each year, and now I just can't because I don't want to go back into that deep back depression. So, if anyone has any time and likes what the genre Lee writes, they are looking for a beta reader.
Right.
I know there's some groups on Facebook. There's the Summit critique group, and I think there's another one. I'll try and pop them in the comments. So, and you can always like do a shout out on what's it called? Twitter. But you know, it depends who's awake when you put the request in. There's the Summit Club critique partner matchup. And I might find another one. Let's see. I know there's another group that I'm a member of on Facebook. But yeah, just look around. I know Facebook has several groups. I know that if you Google it, there are some critique groups online. Obviously, that's how some people got into Archive of Their Own and things and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm also looking for critique partners.
Yeah, so, maybe y'all could do an exchange.
And I write urban fantasy, basically. Yeah. So.
Okay, Shadow is a he. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I don't always know gender just looking at names. So let's see. Raven says, if we're talking about point of view, he's got two primary protagonists in his Tempest or Testament novels, and one I write first person and one is in third person.
That's cool.
Although he usually writes pure fantasy in third person.
That's interesting.
Eva has a narrator in parts and third person in others. And the July work in progress is 2 points of view, both first person or third, either. I don't know. Raven says, Spence would hate one of my novel ideas where I literally split the point of view between first person and an almost journal kind of structure and the other exclusively in third person. If it's in a journal structure, I think that would work. So, Spence, I'd at least be very grumpy about it. Raven says, the Wheel of Time stalled me out, not even halfway through. Kelly finished his art contract and will polish it tomorrow. Yay. Raven says he hasn't been able to rewatch the movie adaptation of The Mist for reasons of nope, too emotionally traumatic.
Especially that ending.
That ending, although that is critically acclaimed, that ending.
That ending.
But it is dark.
Have I?
Yes, Sako and I are on the same page.
I watch horror movies once a year at my friend's Spooktoberfest get-together because I'm very suggestible to mood. And I have a doctor's note that I get the seat directly in front of the TV because the time I was curled up sideways, I threw my neck out, leaping away from the TV.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's my neck. It's not surprising. But yeah. I also once bit the host to muffle my screams and bodily grabbed them and shoved them between me and the TV. So.
Well, this ending is not one of those. This is just a rip your heart out and stomp on it.
I have what I like to say is I have a very well-honed startle reflex. Gore, I might go like, oh, but it doesn't bother me half as much as that feeling of anticipation where you just know something's about to happen.
It's
I
when you don't
scream.
know something is supposed to happen, and then it does, and then you're like, all the repercussions of everything that has happened comes to a point, and
I screamed watching Bubba Hotep while rolling my eyes at myself from the jump scare. So, startle reflex. They were running through the woods. There was a jump scare. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a jump scare fan. Those are cheap to me.
Yeah, me too.
I have a well-honed startle reflex.
Sound spikes are unnecessary.
And I'm very suggestible to mood. And what you don't see is way scarier than what you see. Once we get into the gore and the killing, I'm fine. So I do horror movies once a year. And we usually do one scary movie and then one horror comedy. So, and that way you can drive home without like, I don't know if, what's the one with Katie Holmes about the fairies that are stealing teeth?
Bad Behavior?
That doesn't
I don't think so. Because I think I've seen
Disturbing Behavior?
Or I've seen Disturbing Behavior.
That's not
about fairy teeth. That's about reprogramming.
Maybe Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
She was in that.
Written by Guillermo
del Toro.
Maybe. Let me see.
Well, Guillermo del Toro would do
a
teeth ripping out movie.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. And at the time, the guy I was seeing lived in a house with a door, a utility access door that was about this high, right on the edge of the like bedroom. And I was just like, lock it, block it. So apparently it was a remake of an old television movie. Yeah. So, but it was pretty creepy. So, yeah.
Yeah. When Stephen King says, "I wish I'd written that ending."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Leah said she'd be happy to beta for you, but is a slow reader.
I don't mind slow reader, but I do write urban fantasy.
Yep.
So and mystery, supernatural horror type things. So I just want you to be prepared.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, it is like 6:30, so it might be time for our outros.
It might be time.
We just started talking about writing.
That's what happens when writers get into writing discussion. We tend to get really into it.
I don't have a blog because I hate talking about writing.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do our outros. Jayce, since you were last, let's start with you.
All right. I am Jayce Maxwell, author of Urban Fantasy, editor for Rose City Editing at rosecityediting.com. I do on my channel some gaming, some writing, and some tabletop RPG.
Yeah. Nice.
In which Sako is one of my players in the game I run.
Indeed. And also ditto.
Yes. I'm a player in the game Sako runs on her channel.
Howdy neighbors, I'm Sako Toomey, and sometimes known as Cass Voit, and sometimes known as a myriad of other names. I write horror, urban fantasy, supernatural things, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer, and sometimes I combine those three things, usually on the same project, usually. So if you are interested in marketing yourself as an author, I have videos on the topic on my channel, in a playlist, and all those things. Please drop by sometime. I would love to see you.
Yeah, and I'm your host, Morgan Hazelwood. Thank you for coming. I hope you had a good time, even if we could have been more productive. You can find me blogging, vlogging, and podcasting my writing tips from the pros and my own writerly musings over on morganhazelwood.com or YouTube/Morgan Hazelwood. This week, I wrote up notes from a panel I watched on using the 3-act structure, why it works, how to work, and how to avoid that soggy middle, and the fact it doesn't have to be so structural and, patterned. It doesn't have to be as restraining as it sounds. So check that out. And we plan to be back next week. Sako and I will be very likely in the car driving. So as long as we have bandwidth, we will be here. So have a great week and hope to see y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.